Can I have a spotlight, please? Thank you.
Hey, welcome to WrestleReward, the show that looks at whether the wrestle was worth the reward. Clever, right? I'm Justin, and today's special Spotlight episode covers the 2005 Royal Rumble match from January 30th, 2005 at the Save Mart Center in San Jose, California. Wow, I didn't even know Mart was in danger. The match represented a major turning point in World Wrestling Entertainment history, an evolution one might even say, as the company was in the process of anointing its two new franchise stars that would carry WWE through the rest of the decade and beyond. The road to get there, though, much like Vince McMahon's legs, would encounter some speed bumps. We begin with the positively dynamite announce team of Raw's Jim Ross and SmackDown's Taz joining forces to call this match from the nosebleeds, where 15 of Raw's most available superstars will battle with 15 of SmackDown's for the right to main event WrestleMania 21 in Hollywood. The road to that event was fittingly kicked off with a memorable West Side Story-inspired Royal Rumble commercial, especially remarkable since that movie didn't even come out for another 16 years. Our first entrant in the 2005 Royal Rumble match is... Wait a minute, a car is entering the Royal Rumble? That doesn't even make... Oh, okay, it's Eddie Guerrero, that makes more sense, okay. The SmackDown superstar was entering at unlucky number 1, hoping to outlast the entire field as only 2 men before him had from that spot, and as fate would have it, entering at number 2 from Raw was one of those 2 men, Chris Benoit. Not only did Benoit win the 2004 Royal Rumble from the number 1 spot, but he also went on to WrestleMania and won the World Heavyweight Championship in the main event, a career accomplishment celebrated with his best frenemy Eddie Guerrero, who just retained the WWE title himself. The two began this meeting with a more aggressive kind of hug, evolving into Eddie's gruff attempt at holding hands followed by a no love lost shoulder block. Number 3 warning, identity revealed as the MMA legend, Daniel Puder? The winner of the $1 million but only $250,000 guaranteed Tough Enough a month earlier, Puder earned a Rumble entry by virtue of that victory over some guy named Mike. Puder's most famous moment was and remains an encounter with Olympic gold medalist wrestler Kurt Angle during a Tough Enough contest where the MMA practitioner trapped Angle in a key lock that seemed like it might actually force the multi-time world champion to submit. Luckily for Angle though, referee Jimmy Corderas counting Puder's not completely down shoulders to the mat ended the upset bid, and Puder hasn't let Kurt or the world forget about it since. Puder did score his combat sports win and pay-per-view debut in December at Armageddon though, defeating noted striker The Miz in a Dixie dogfight just days before the Tough Enough final. Daniel declared from ringside he would be Tough Enough's first Royal Rumble winner, and if you thought Miz was the Tough Enough alumnus that Chris Benoit hated the most, just wait until you see him in the ring with Daniel Puder. Repeated chops, a double suplex, and 4 more individual suplexes from the Reform Radicals softened the rookie up for Puder's worst nightmare, entering at number 4, Hardcore Holly. The former Hardcore champion was no stranger to Tough Enough controversy, leaving Season 3 co-winner Matt Cappotelli with a black eye and busted lip during a training session, and Holly entered his 5th Royal Rumble match with only one purpose. Holly and Benoit teamed up to welcome the small fish to their big pond with even more chops, followed by an Alabama slam that you could feel in Mobile all the way from Fresno. The arrival of the Hurricane at number 5 also marked the merciful exit of Puder, and if there was any doubt what Hardcore Holly's role was in this match, he's dumped out of the ring before the Hurricane can even make it in. Matt Hardy can slap a tornado, but Eddie and Benoit can both chop a hurricane, as well as elbow one in the face before Eddie reminds us that the Royal Rumble is every man for himself. Hurricane uses the splinter in that bond to blockbuster Guerrero, but Benoit chops down the Hurricane like he hadn't paid his late fees. Ross, completely a superhero, wasn't allowed in the match until he paid those and was the next elimination as we were back to square one. That is until the next entrant, SmackDown's Kenzo Suzuki. Kenzo was nearly a Raw superstar though, and in fact might have been the World Heavyweight Champion if a report from 2004 is to be believed, and they were 14 years early on the Fox story, so I'm inclined to believe them. The former TNA one-match wonder was slated to debut as Hirohito, named after the Japanese emperor during World War II who sided with Nazi Germany that Suzuki would play the grandson of, out for revenge on America by targeting Canada's Chris Benoit. That idea was scrapped for any number of extremely valid reasons, and Suzuki instead debuted on SmackDown in the midst of its horrible run of new characters, eventually joining forces with Rene Dupree to win the WWE Tag Team Championship and the only WWE title change I've ever seen in person. Kenzo fulfilled his original prophecy by targeting Benoit, but suffered more of those Canadian-grade chops than a dropkick at the hands, feet of Eddie Guerrero. Despite the assist, Benoit returns the favor from earlier trying to eliminate his compadre from the match, which he also fails at as another ex-Benoit partner enters to charge at Guerrero, Monday Night Raw's Edge. Or, as this sign from earlier in the night and Howie Mandel would call him, The Edge.
Randy Orton and The Edge and everybody at WWE.
Edge notched his first reign as tag team champions with Benoit back in April, while the Wolverine also held the World Heavyweight Championship, the very title that would cause the breakdown of their second reign as tag team champs in November. E&B lost out to Shawn Michaels in a fan vote at Taboo Tuesday for an opportunity at the big gold now belonging to Triple H, but received a tag team title match as consolation that ended with Edge walking out in frustration and Benoit outlasting La Resistance to single-handedly win the gold. Edge was bitter at the fans denying his hunger to claim his first singles world championship, though Shawn Michaels did have a solution to that problem.
You say you're the hungriest? Well, get yourself a sandwich, boy.
Edge continued prodding both Benoit and Michaels, the latter of whom was now a special referee who had enough and laid out Edge in the Elimination Chamber at New Year's Revolution for the vacant world title that both Edge and Benoit thought they had won in December. Edge gained a measure of revenge on Michaels earlier in the Royal Rumble, pulling at his hair that wasn't quite Japanese shampoo commercial quality and stealing the win to open the night. The yet-to-be-rated superstar looked to bookend the show with victories, unleashing on his former friend Benoit with chops of his own and nearly succeeding where Benoit failed in eliminating Guerrero, but Eddie hugged the rope like it was Benoit at WrestleMania to ward off the elimination. Next in was Rey Mysterio, who had tag team history with Edge as well as Eddie Guerrero, both as a partner who he won with on a very Iraq Christmas and defeated along with the now injured RVD to retain their tag team title a week later to close out 2004. That competitive fire between Rey and Latino Heat also extended to Mysterio beating Eddie in a singles on the first SmackDown of 2005, giving Rey momentum into the Rumble he used to put down his other former SmackDown partner with a wheelbarrow bulldog followed by a dropkick to Benoit. Mysterio got halted and caught by Kenzo, but escaped and ducked a clothesline to Scissor Suzuki out of the ring, avenging a No Mercy challenge along with RVD that they lost to Kenzo and Rene Dupree. Eddie then makes sure to get his receipt on Mysterio with the Tilt-A-Whirl backbreaker, showing the most contentious moment that will occur between them in 2005. Out next and already in the ring before his graphic even came down was the reigning and not defending Intercontinental Champion Shelton Benjamin, who like everyone else in the ring was also a former WWE Tag Team Champion. Unlike Edge though, democracy worked for Shelton at Taboo Tuesday when he beat out Batista, the Coach, and Vacant's cousin Others for an IC title match where he upset Chris Jericho for his first singles championship, much like he upset Triple H his first night on Raw back in March. Shelton continued the Edge hate fest by uncorking a back elbow, followed by the arrival of someone who unfortunately didn't beat Triple H, Booker T. The future SmackDown GM wasn't alone as current Raw GM Eric Bischoff then made his way out to cheer on his roster's representatives to earn the main event slot for his brand at WrestleMania. Rey dropkicks Benoit again, this time to save Eddie just as Raw's human highlight reel host Chris Jericho enters at number 11. Jericho understandably goes after Benjamin to begin before SmackDown GM Teddy Long arrives to counter Bischoff's moral support. The next person to come out was also from SmackDown but actually in the match, number 12, Luther Reigns. A member of the new and horribly damaged Team Angle that replaced Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin, Luther came into the match a major Hollywood star.
Yo, Mule, what the hell are you doing? Man, these punks ain't directors. They're in high school, you idiot.
And an oddly huge favorite of Taz.
Yeah! All right!
The Raw and SmackDown stars stand off at center stage, and hey, it's just like the commercial, though nobody from TNA came in to offer Rey Mysterio cookies this time. This is what it's like when worlds collide, but the brand warfare battle comes to a screeching halt upon the arrival of number 13, Raw's Muhammad Hassan. Despite this only being Hassan's third official match in WWE, he came in with one of the biggest profiles thanks to a series of segments where Hassan and manager Daivari castigated the United States for the plight of men like themselves, Arab Americans born in America who were unfairly looked at differently following 9/11. It's a great modern twist on the longtime foreign menace character, but the idea of it being great is about where it stopped given Hassan was treated like a sanctimonious whiner who when raising legitimate issues with American society at the time was told to love it.
Or by God, you leave it!
The only thing WWE superstars TM love more than defending their brand is defending their country, causing Hassan to join Daniel Puder as this match's sacrificial lamb.
Now I'm finna hit the ground, they finna stomp the shit out of me. Stomp man, yeah, that's me. Oh, they kicking. Wow, big fella got on a boot. I wonder how long they gonna stomp me out.
Hassan received a 619 as the spoiled cherry on top of his Sunday Night Sunday, and a group elimination ended his WrestleMania dreams, though that would be the least of his problems in 2005. Out next was Orlando Jordan, sans yogurt but with plenty of friends on SmackDown as part of WWE Champion JBL's cabinet. That group made its presence known earlier in the night by assisting their fallen leader back into the ring and sacrificing themselves to Big Show, giving JBL an opening to blast Kurt Angle with the steel chair and continue his 7-month reign. Continued from that match, Team Angle's Luther Reigns confronts Orlando as the factions within factions continue to war in this match, but don't let all that hate get you down because out next is SmackDown's Scotty to Hotty to make it a party. And listen, nobody deserved to be in this match more than Scotty to Hotty. He thought he had friends in 2000's Royal Rumble but had his performance cut short by Stickman Rikishi turning on both him and Grandmaster Sexay. In 2001 he walked into the Lion's Den with blood still dripping from the mouth of the Brother Lions who eliminated him in almost immediate fashion. 2002 looked to be his fresh start, but turned out to be the day the music died when The Undertaker struck yet again. After 2 years of minding his own business, Scotty was finally back in the Rumble mix and nothing was gonna stop him now. Oh, come on! Muhammad Hassan completed the blindside by applying the camel clutch, yet another reminder that this character was progressive in concept only and just more of the same in new packaging. The director then pans out to capture the arena-wide megapop for our next entrant, Charlie Haas. The pride of Seton Hall University, Go Pirates, had his world's greatest tag team with Shelton Benjamin split by the draft in March, and though he did land on his feet with new partner Rico to regain the WWE Tag Team title, that duo would also split. Then just a month before the Rumble, Haas split up the dreams of two women vying for his affection when he somehow decided that turning down both Dawn Marie and Jackie Gaeta was the best way to resolve their love triangle lust for him. Booker tries to knock some sense back into Haas with a kick as we see Scotty's night ended in the beginning of his rightful claim to being the uncrowned 2005 Royal Rumble winner. Booker then dumps out Luther Reigns, who could have used some help from his partners Kurt Angle and Mark Jindrak because together they formed
A fucking tripod.
Booker celebrates with a Rumble Rooney, but like an NFL referee seeing a player happy about an accomplishment during a game, Ray and Eddie killed the fun by penalizing Booker with an elimination to pay off a segment from 72 hours earlier on SmackDown.
The man who wins the Royal Rumble is gonna be Booker T.
As one SmackDowner went out, so came in another, Rene Dupree, accompanied by the star of his act Fifi, a French poodle who actually got her own action figure. The former member of La Resistance falls prey to the reunion of Shelton and Haas, though, landing one of their signature tag maneuvers on the Frenchman. Sadly, that teamwork wasn't enough to stop Shelton being betrayed by his own athleticism and eliminated by the newly tag team phobic Edge, sending Haas to avenge his fallen partner. Out next at number 18 in a lovely light blue tracksuit was another new entry to Monday Night's ecosystem, Simon Dean. Raw's newest Supernova debuted in August with fitness instructor vignettes so believable he likely caused millions of viewers to channel surf too early during Raw thinking he was the latest infomercial scam. Simon had arrived to the Rumble but was yet to be in it, setting up shop at ringside to pre-match stretch and avoid the action, a decision validated by Eddie Guerrero suddenly being eliminated from the match after he made the mistake of actually getting in the ring to wrestle. The clock strikes 0 and Simon Dean takes that as his cue to enter even though it's actually time for 1995's Rumble winner Shawn Michaels, joining Benoit in the ring as the only two to ever win from the number 1 position. HBK enters this match getting a receipt on Edge for his loss at the start of the show and then eliminates Simon Dean from the Rumble, stretching all over his grave in the process. While Shawn squares off with his fellow Texas wrestling legend Charlie Haas, Ray plays a game of keep away with himself against Edge that leads JR to a realization.
Edge is trying to corner Rey Mysterio in the corner.
Quick,
Makes a lot of sense.
quick.
Corner in the corner.
Well, that's where you want to corner him, in the corner, right?
A game that Mysterio wins while the future Mr. Gaeta hits the floor like Lillian Garcia.
Seton Hall University All-American.
In at number 20 is Kurt Angle, becoming the first man in Royal Rumble history to enter the titular match on the same night he competed for a singles world title. That came about from catching Nunzio's ball with possession and both feet in bounds before the match, but Nunzio got off easy this year compared to his fate in the 2004 Royal Rumble. Angle wasted no time germinating his 2003 Rumble opponent Chris Benoit, followed by an overhead for his SummerSlam 2002 rival Rey Mysterio, a German for his No Way Out 2000 adversary Jericho, an Angle Slam for his 2001 King of the Ring Finals challenger Edge, and an Angle Slam for his first time meeting with Rene Dupree. Angle attempted another slam on another new foe, Shawn Michaels, but HBK escaped that to have sweet chin music turned into an ankle lock that made his ankle hurt.
I'll make your ankle hurt.
But Shawn reminded Angle just how much submissions matter in a battle royal by rolling out and super kicking our Olympic hero to the floor in just 37 seconds. With the scrubs like Angle and Guerrero now gone, we can get to the meat of this match with the Coach entering his first Rumble, and amazingly not his last. Coach was in the funny position of sorta, kinda being on the Raw announce team alongside fan favorites JR and King, but while Vince loved having him on to mess with JR, he also recognized Coach wasn't the soundtrack to play on the marquee moments. As such, you had a year of finding excuses to get Coach off commentary for those big matches, like being headbutted in the groin at last year's Royal Rumble or hosting Diva Dodgeball in the gym somewhere at SummerSlam. And on this night, the excuse was Coach actually competing to wrestle at WrestleMania so he wouldn't be on commentary for the Rumble or WrestleMania.
Just so you know who he is, if you ever get wonder, just look at his ass. It's got Coach written all over it.
Coach kickstarts his time in the match by clubbing Benoit from behind and cowering in front of him, causing Benoit to begin stripping the Coach Man for our pay-per-view treat. Jericho and Mysterio trade near eliminations like it's Bash at the Beach 98 all over again as a reflection of Lucha Libre perfection cascades over Fresno, Team Angle's Mark Jindrak. And speak of the devil, Kurt Angle returns to grapple his eliminator over the top rope for an elimination of his own, but more than that, Angle is out to eliminate Shawn's consciousness with a stair shot in the joints from his ankle with an ankle lock to a bloody Michaels over those same steel stairs. The dream team of Finlay and Skinner restore order and get Angle away as out comes a fellow King of the Ring in Viscera, whose on again, off again, on again, and off again relationship with WWE is back on, again. Big Vis returned alongside Gangrel in September to claim vengeance on their former Ministry of Darkness leader The Undertaker, who actually converted the former Mabel into a disciple when it cost him an entry into the 1999 Royal Rumble match. Viscera quietly moved to Raw and didn't have much going on, not unlike the next entrant from SmackDown, Paul London, whose tag team title tandem with the Kid Man Billy came to a bitter end in October at No Mercy. London rebounded from that low to earn the token cruiserweight division spot in the Rumble by winning a 4-way just 72 hours earlier on SmackDown, and ride with a slide Billy Gunn would be proud of. Rene Dupree wasn't impressed though and dropped Paul to outshine him with a French tickler performance, but his dreams of being a Fozzy dancer are dashed by Jericho running in to dump him from the Rumble like he ran Rene off from Raw to SmackDown as the first selection in 2004's draft lottery. The Road Warrior Pop Award for biggest crowd reaction of the match and really the entire night goes to SmackDown's John Cena, entering as United States Champion with his superior spinner to prove it. Viscera's reason for being called up from Heat reveals itself when Cena shows no signs of getting stabbed in that Boston area nightclub by eliminating the Gargantuan to begin his quest to WrestleMania 21, similar to how he capped his night at WrestleMania 20. Speaking of which, Cena then goes on to work over WrestleMania 20 headliner Chris Benoit, who apparently won out over second option Cena to get that 2004 Rumble victory. Number 26 in your program, but probably like 82nd in your heart, is Gene Snitsky, whose debut on Raw against Kane put a stop to Kane's son ever having a Raw debut when Snitsky chair-shotted Kane into his pregnant wife Lita, causing a miscarriage. Which is what all pro wrestling fans tune into pro wrestling shows to see. Though it was impossible to determine whose fault it was since
It's not my fault.
Kane still settled on chasing Snitsky for revenge, a chase that landed both men careening off the stage and through the tech area on Raw just 2 weeks earlier. The Big Red Machine renewed hostilities during a SmackDown match on this Rumble card, with Snitsky attempting to help his new friend John bury The Undertaker for good in a casket match that everyone was super invested in.
Still has the triangle choke locked into Heidenreich here. The Undertaker doesn't. And if you can wear the Heidenreich out,
It's triangle choke, not triangle choke, whatever you said.
you can allow me to call a match. Or you just want to keep going.
All right, cool.
Undertaker's baby brother woke up from his nap on that fresh casket linen to run off his sworn enemy, while Undertaker put another clumsy big man feud behind him with a victory, and Kane didn't even set him on fire once this time. Like Viscera before him, Paul London's reason for entering this match becomes clear when he attempts to choke out the well-typed man, but we get the inverse of Viscera and John Cena's moment in our Gift of the Gods award winner for most gift-worthy moment of the night, as Snitsky dumps London to the apron and turns him all the way inside out. London falling earns him a stretcher trip out of Fresno to a local medical facility, while a man from parts unknown enters at famously lucky number 27 to terrify Taz. It's Kane. Kane goes on a 2001 Rumble-like tear, doling out chokeslams to Edge and Chris Benoit right off the bat, followed by a sky-high chokeslam to Cena that Kane definitely embraced the hate on. Snitsky still manages to avoid his tormentor while Jericho gets a chokeslam that stings more than a coffee burn ahead of a one-arm chokeslam to Rey Mysterio, and with no friends from Team Angle or Evolution to help him, a running goozle sends Mark Jindrak out of the match. Coach hits his signature club to the back of a guy way scarier than him that was about to bring a fate much worse than a t-shirt tear, but Snitsky does what he failed to do with Kane's baby and protects the coach, even landing a nice power slam on Kane. With the arrival of two Raw Giants comes one more, and the third time was definitely the charm as it brought out Batista at number 28, who the fans were thinking is pretty great. Randy Orton finding the world title laying in the middle of the ring one August night in 2004 to become champion spelled the end of his evolutionary cycle, being ejected from a seat on the electric chair manned by Batista and controlled by Triple H. The game regained the big gold just a month later at Unforgiven and successfully retained it against Orton earlier in the Royal Rumble show, concussing Orton and putting the final nail in the coffin of the original WrestleMania 21 plans. As Triple H's greed took center stage ahead of his stablemates, so too did Batista's increasing sense of self-worth, and gosh, I just love that for him. The Animal began questioning his pack leader, insubordination that ironically led to Triple H allowing his ally to be taken out of the New Year's Revolution chamber by Orton for fear of Batista taking matters into his own hands right then and there. Batista was out for himself and didn't care whose feud he trampled on, dumping Snitsky in quick order and Batista bombing Kane back to his summer home in hell. Jericho opted for the element of surprise, but was instead caught and directly deposited without waiting 3 to 5 business days. Batista then targeted the guy who most looked like Jericho left and tried to choke him out just as Edge's sorta kinda brother Christian arrived with his problem solver Tomko, hoping he'd be more of a help in this match than he was in his rap battle with John Cena earlier that night.
Tomko, give me a beat.
Motivated by that embarrassment, Christian set his sights on Cena, though it went about as well for him as his fellow Purple Pan enthusiast Edge facing Batista did. Mysterio then caught Kane with a 619 he could feel all the way through a burlap sack, which set up Cena to cut Kane 10 eliminations short of his 2001 record by dumping his second giant of the night. That led to SmackDown's Rey and Cena forging a deal to work together, a plan put into action by bravely attacking Sunday Night Heat announcer coach 2-on-1. And number 30 was a man over 30 years into his career, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, who not only won the Rumble in 1992, but earned the WWF World title with a tear in his eye in the process. Flair also made waves 10 years later at the Royal Rumble, returning to the ring for the first time since the final Nitro in March 2001 and for the first time in the Federation since Episode 3 of Raw, defeating his fellow WWF co-owner Vince McMahon to create a Kodak moment. If Flair was ever going to repeat his 1992 success at the event so special to him, entering last was probably his best shot, though he almost lost that chance, among other things.
Gross, stole my number. What? My wallet, my wallet.
Flair entered showing immediate solidarity with the Evolution partner he walked out of the 04 Rumble as tag champs with, beginning an assault on the coach punctuated by the first but not last spinebuster Batista would give the man who helped him retain the tag team title at that 2004 Royal Rumble. Flair sent Vince back to the drawing board on how to get Coach off commentary at WrestleMania by throwing him out, followed by another Batista spinebuster, this time to Christian, and it would prove to be Captain Charisma's kryptonite on this night. Chris Benoit showed a shocking lack of Horseman loyalty by chopping Flair himself, disloyalty that Batista gave a hearty thumbs down to. Flair recorded the official elimination of the match's Iron Man Benoit, ending a repeat bid at over 47 minutes and strutting his way into trying to eliminate his best friend, a movie nearly paid for until being bailed out by the former tag team champions Edge and Mysterio. It wasn't the dawning of a new faction though, as Edge then mowed down Flair with a spear and a toss over the top, downsizing the match to its final four with 2 from Raw and 2 from SmackDown. Edge seemed to be a man on his own island though, catching it from both ends of the brain split spectrum, but rebounded by first evading Batista to catch him with a spear and then wiping out Cena with 1 seconds later. Mysterio leapfrogged his way out of one in the corner, then lured Edge to the opposite side for a 619 that the operator put through. Edge was the one evading Mysterio now though, ducking a West Coast pop on the West Coast and flinging Ray to the apron where Edge nailed his 3rd spear to eliminate Mysterio. Edge did not learn from Simon Dean and paid for it when he attempted to actually fight Cena and Batista, getting double back-bodied out to end his world title dreams once more. With Edge's elimination came the rumble from this Royal Rumble crowd knowing it was now either Cena or Batista going on to headline their first WrestleMania, signaling the dawn of a new era as WWE put itself back together following the loss of top stars like Hulk Hogan, The Rock, Stone Cold, Brock Lesnar, and Goldberg. This was a key inflection point in history, and all that was left to do was have one man hold his head up high as the winner of the 2005 Royal Rumble. But then the funny thing happened.
You say Batista gone. No. Get him. Oh, God, they both went out.
Both men fell out of the ring on live global pay-per-view with only minutes of airtime remaining, causing a panic among the referees at ringside. The Monday Night Raw officials declare its man the victor while the SmackDown referees insist that Cena's time is now. It wasn't supposed to happen this way, but in a way it worked out perfectly since both men did what people intentionally trying to be eliminated at the same time they failed to do before, actually touch the floor at the exact same millisecond. 1994 saw the first co-winners of the Royal Rumble when the same scenario played out with Bret Hart and Lex Luger, and it's even better in 2005 because there are 2 world champions now, which means 1 for each to fight, right? Yeah, you know, I think we can actually make this work. Or, well, Vince could come out ready to have a stroke, that's an option too, sure. Arriving with a face as red as a Suspiria set piece, the chairman throws his jacket to the floor, beginning what counts as a sprint for him to the ring where this match gets its latest curveball. Vince McMahon tore 1 quad entering the ring and fell on his ass where he sat like a literal toddler with the emotional temperament of 1-2, and shortly after leaving the ring a few moments later, tore his other quad refusing help up the aisleway. That earns Vince McMahon the prestigious Quaddy Award for most torn quad of the night, tearing both of them just to ensure he won it like the competitor he is. Batista grew restless and hurled Cena over the top rope as Vince conferred with Charles Robinson, and Cena returned inside to do the same before McMahon finally ordered an unprecedented Royal Rumble restart. Batista wastes no time going for another bomb, but Cena isn't falling for that one again, instead powering up the big man on his shoulders. Batista escapes the FU to deliver an FU of a spinebuster though, weakening Cena just enough, just in the nick of time to eliminate the Doctor of Thugonomics and punch his ticket to Hollywood like he just aced an American Idol audition. Batista was now officially on the road to superstardom, and John Cena wouldn't be far behind. And even though Vince McMahon ended the night without a functioning quad to his name, at least Taz knew something much more painful could have happened to him.
JR, I think that one knocked his areola off.